Another box full of crap. Hey, bitch. This is actually not a crappy box at all. This is part of a tub that I already did, or a box that I already did. Don't know why I keep calling them tubs, because they do kind of look like tubs. This is the upper layer of the Thothy tub, and this just features lots of decks with weirdly shaped boxes that I couldn't really fit anywhere else. And they're actually like, some of them are like absolute favorites, and some of them I barely use. So, for example, this one, the Tarot of the Divine. When this came out, this was on top of my wish list. I really wanted to get it. It was so fresh and so new. And when I had it, once again, everyone had it, and I kind of suffered from overexposure. I feel like this deck really did suffer from overexposure, and I got sick of it real quick. So I do love it. It's a really good deck. And now that I'm looking at it again, I'm like, yes, amazing. All these stories, I love story. Story is medicine to me, honestly. It's really good. It's well made, well produced. The cardstock is fab. Probably one of the best produced mass market sets out there. However, it doesn't make me go, ooh. So I'm kind of like, what do I do with it? Do I let it go? Do I keep it? It's just sitting there. Nobody's touching it ever. But it is stunning. It is I'm not saying it's a bad deck, but that's the whole thing with like all the hype around decks. I have a similar thing with the Oak, Ash, and Thorn. I never got the hype. I did get the hype for this. I was very much part of the hype. But with the Oak, Ash, and Thorn, there was this like hype, and she'd sold out of her first like print run immediately, and people were reselling them for hundreds of dollars on eBay, and other people were buying them for that money. And I was like, And I'm kind of I just didn't get it, and this deck leaves me cold. It leaves me cold, even though it should be everything I've ever wanted in a deck, because it's fairy tales, it's stories, it's really well chosen ones that really represent the card. And I don't know, I'm not feeling the love. So I don't know, like, I'm really bad with I'm weird with letting things go. Sometimes I can be very abrupt, and I haven't felt an ounce of regret with each deck I've let go. But for some reason, this one just keeps lingering, sort of, here. Another one that I really like is this, the Hollow Valley Sigil Oracle. I used to use this a lot. But you know, I have a little bit of a problem with it, which is I don't like indie creators who run Kickstarters and stuff only to have their decks printed at Make Playing Cards. And that is what Erin Elise Borsak did, at least for her sigil deck, or her symbol deck. The sigil deck she did all by herself, no Kickstarter meddling at all. But, you know, but still, you know, like, if you are going to have a deck produced in large quantities, why go with Make Playing Cards when you could easily work with another Chinese manufacturer that just produces way higher quality cards? And, you know, especially with the mattest Make Playing Cards finish, which this is, it's their standard finish. It's a pretty bad finish. And, you know, I feel if you're like not a small business and you're, you know, kind of like testing the water, seeing if people like your work, then I kind of feel like, yeah, you should probably use Make Playing Cards if you don't want to handle, and use their web store as well if you don't want to handle the distribution and all of that shit. But once it gets a bit more serious than that, maybe it is time for you to actually get it produced somewhere that will deliver quality. So this is a sigil deck. This is exactly how I do my own sigils. She's a huge inspiration. It's a lovely deck, but I'm just scared to use it because I've only used it a couple of times and the cards are already scratched the house. So yeah, I'm not feeling that. I don't like that. I really don't like that vibe. Do I sound a bit entitled? I mean, people can do whatever they want, but you can offer your deck at way more affordable prices when you know, just use another manufacturer. If you don't use Make Playing Cards for their distribution aspect, why would you even use them? Honestly, I don't get it. And it's kind of a bummer because I love this deck, but I'm scared to use it because I don't want to damage it. And it's not made so you can use it for a very long time. And I kind of hate that. That was really negative, but it is what it is. It's the truth. I'm not gonna hide the truth. Honestly, I just can't. What else is in here? Ooh, this is a Chronicle Books deck. And it's a spell deck. So it's not really a deck that you would use for divination, I feel. But it's a lovely collection of spells, honestly. So all the cards have these different watercolor backs because they belong to certain categories. And then the other sides of the card have spells, rituals, symbols, things you can do, and they're actually really interesting. So this is almost like a recipe book, but then in card form, which is very handy because when you do magic, and I haven't really been practicing a lot lately, honestly, but whenever I do, I always look through this because I find it very handy to keep a card like this with me when I actually perform a ritual. I got an amazing magic spray recipe from here that I use a lot to this day. I still use it. It's just really good. It's a really good deck. So this is cute, but I always wonder why people make decks like this. You know, it's a reference deck. I do kind of get it, but there are a lot of sort of nonsensical cards in here as well, where I'm like, you know, this could have been a great book. It doesn't have to be a deck, but, you know, it makes for a nice stocking stuffer. It's cool, and it's really affordable. There's another deck sort of like this, also by Chronicle Books, but this to me is more of a deck. Crystals, the Stone deck, is a deck that I really like and that I also use for divination. The backs all have these lovely, really cool photographs of different crystals. I think that people may disagree, but I feel like this is probably the best crystal deck out there, and let me tell you why. You can use this as a reference, but you can literally use this for divination because all the cards have these little oracular messages at the bottom. So that's actually pretty dope. Soften your heart, recharge your good vibes, get real with your truth, strengthen your foundation, unlock your highest potential, and they're all very action oriented, which I love. I love it when people know how to use their words wisely. And then you get a whole bunch of information. So I don't know. And I think it looks really good. So I'm a very big fan of this. I don't use it on Instagram that much because it doesn't look that good. But I use it quite a bunch, actually, if I just want to be uplifted a little bit. It's a 78 card deck. I think it's really dope. And cheap as well. So that's great. Up next. This one's fairly new. It's an old Hay House deck by Sonia Chiquette. It's called Ask Your Guides, and it's based on the minor arcana of the tarot. And this is actually... Hay House used to work with this illustrator a lot. Let's see. Jan Stam. It's probably a Dutch guy. Because Jan is a very common Dutch name. And Jan is usually short for Janet. They funny, they aren't credited as a co-author, so that's interesting. So this was a commissioned work, which is interesting. Yeah, Jan Stam. Okay, just a commissioned work, but it's really, really pretty. We're getting lots of interesting keywords here. Sometimes positive, sometimes pretty dark and hard-hitting, and I really like this this painting style that Jan has. And I don't know, I feel like this is a very neat full scope of life in this deck, and I feel like it's very good, and I feel like it gets forgotten a lot because it is kind of old school, but I feel like it's a really sweet little cute deck. So I do like this a lot, and I do like that it's very balanced and that we get lots of great jumping off keywords, and that it is sort of based on something. Like, for example, you know, taking the minor arcana of the tarot and turning that into an oracle deck, I feel is really interesting, really cool. So yeah, that's a pretty good one. Ooh, this one I got as a gift. It doesn't come in a box, it comes in a bag, and I absolutely love this. Even though, let's be honest, this deck is not a type of deck that I normally gravitate towards. This is the Field Guide Oracle deck. It's on really big cards. It doesn't even fit on the screen completely, so I'm just going to have to put it sort of on top of my decoration. So we get an image of the thing and the name of the thing, without any keywords, and usually I don't like that. Let's be very honest, I was so inspired by her though, like for my own oracle deck. It's all very animal, nature-y, planty, mineral-y, very grounding. And I feel like these illustrations really bring me a lot of peace. So there's that aspect. And then you'd probably think there's a really annoying, huge guidebook here, but it's actually really tiny. And I feel like this is a misconception with a lot of readers. When you get a deck like this and the guidebook is tiny, we sort of tend to dismiss it. And when we get, and I'm going to be really blunt and honest here, and when we get one of those huge Llewellyn kits with 300-page guidebooks that literally feature copy, no. Am I going to say it? Yeah, I'm going to say it. They literally feature descriptions of what it is that we see on the card, and I'm like, I have eyes. I don't need you to describe me what's on the card. Like, there's a mermaid. She's swimming in the water. There's a couple of seashells. She doesn't know which one to choose. You can see the anxiousness in her eyes. Yeah, Becky, I can see that on the card. And then you get a copy-pasted, typically a Rider-Waite-Smith meaning, and it's all in a huge font, and it doesn't really add a whole lot to my personal practice. But then I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, that's really good. That's a really good guidebook," and I'm like, "Bitch, where?" Where, for example, even though this is a really small guidebook and there's not a lot of text, we get the image. It's in black and white, which is fine. We get lots of keywords down here. Could they have been on the card? Yes. Do I mind that they're in here? No. Do we get a lovely piece of prose here that's really poignant and quick but very effective? Yes. There. Gather parts that have been annexed or snapped off. Shore up flagging spirits, and trust there are many lovely paths through the deep wildness of life. Impress yourself with resourcefulness, preservation, and happy solitude. Share the blackberries, knowing you'll always have one secret place to find more. That's just lovely, and that's what makes this deck so brilliant, I feel. And I love the way she illustrated everything, the watercolor. So yes, this is more of a interactive book, bibliomancy almost. but for some reason it's done so well. I love it when people can touch my soul with so little words, and that is an accomplishment that a lot of these writers that do these huge guidebooks have yet to learn, that sometimes less is more. And this is, I don't know, like honestly, the field guide deck. Still have the little paper that was in the plastic by Lori Pollock, and images were brought to life by artist Juliana Bright. You can go to fieldguidedeck.com or visit them on at fieldguidedeck on Instagram, and it's just a stunning set. It's one of those rare occasions where I totally had to eat my words, because I always talk a big game about how I feel lots of guidebooks are complete BS, and especially guidebook driven decks. I hate those a lot. I hated on them a lot. And then this one came along with that teeny tiny little book and that lovely soft cotton bag, and I was just completely floored by it. Yes, it's actually even so good that I'm literally keeping this on my table because I want to use this for my picture tomorrow. That's how good it is. Then we have a guidebook for a deck that's probably in another tub. I'm not going to look for it, but the Energy Archaeology Oracle is amazing. And this actually has a pretty chunky guidebook that does literally give you lots of information that you can use, and that's also amazing. So bigger guidebooks can be worth a lot, but you know, don't make it big for the sake of being big, if you get what I'm saying. If you want to impress me good. But that's a really good deck. I'll probably show it to you another time. Okay, so another guidebook driven deck. I don't have the original wrapper handy. It's probably somewhere in the trash. It's the Mystical Shaman Oracle. Oh, I can show it like this, by Colette Baron Reed and some other people, Alberto Filoldo and Marcela Lobos. And this comes with a pretty chunky guidebook. And this is another one of those decks where I'm like, yeah, this is more like bibliomancy than oracle card reading, because it's sort of an interactive choose-your-own-adventure book. However, once again, I feel like this is the last good deck that Colette Baron Reed did, where I'm like, this actually adds something. It's stunning. It's really well written. There's lots of like balanced readings in here that can help you a lot. I think the art is so good. This is probably Jenna Della Grottaglia's best work. The art is so good that it justifies the fact that it's a, you know, interactive book. I love this hunter image. Like, wow. It's so primal, so very, very stunning. And I kind of wish Jenna would go back to this style. I've said it a lot. She started kind of campy and glitzy, which was cool for its time. Then she kind of evolved into this. I think the Good Tarot was kind of in this style. The Spirit Animal was kind of in this style. This was kind of in this style. So really good, right? And then she kind of reverted back to the glitzy and campy, which has its place, but I just feel like there's so much great imagery in here, especially this one. This is my favorite card in the whole damn deck. Let's read what the guidebook has to say for card 50, the Spiral, because I don't even know. Because there are a lot of cards in this deck. There are 60 something. That's a chunky Oracle deck. So if you really wanted to read with this off book, you have a lot of studying to do. The essence of the Spiral. From galaxies in the sky to diminutive shells at the beach, the spiral is found extensively in the natural world. Its shape in the form of a coiled serpent has been used since ancient times as a tool for growth and transformation. The spiral is a guide for entering deep into one's consciousness and the unknown, and then extending far out into the heavens. It is crucial to surrender to this journey until the exhausted paradigm dissolves in the depths of the psyche and in its and its energy is released to give birth to a new reality. To renew yourself, you must shed your old skin. You've already done this, so do not keep scraping away at the old, but welcome the soft new skin that is starting to grow. Break the habit of working on your faults all the time and let nature take its course. Know that a new skin feels vulnerable and scary at times. Trust the medicine of the spiral as it guides your journey of renewal. Lovely, like it's a bit wordier than that, cute watercolory deck that I showed earlier. However, it's really, really well written. What I have sort of a problem with this collaborative deck is that we're never really sure what parts are written by Colette, what parts are written by Alberto, which part were written by Marcella. It isn't really mentioned here, and also, well, or maybe it is, I don't know, maybe it is in the back or something. Is it before, because I don't want to talk shit and be ignorant. No, it doesn't say, so it's presented as a collaborative effort. So the writing in this is really good, and I don't know, as a whole set, I never got this because the cover completely threw me off. I was like, ew, what's that boring ass white deck with those eyes? Like, it didn't draw me in at all. But the art is so vivid and so dark. They kind of tried pulling a Wild Unknown with the box, which I'm not the biggest fan of either. The Dutch version just has a chunkier guidebook, but it's in a smaller box, so that's pretty cool. Up next, also a recent acquisition. It's a cute one. It's Healing with the Fairies by Queenie Dorini. I got this for really cheap. I love Doreen's older decks, like the one she did like in the beginning of her career. It's a really usable, simple deck. Do the illustrations always make sense? Sometimes yes, sometimes no, so not always. But it's just really special, really cute. I was kind of pulled into buying it because of this card right here. And it's really good. There's a lot of heart in the deck and in the guidebook as well. And it's kind of a classic. I adore it. I think it's really well done, really cute. And this was groundbreaking for its time. We didn't have anything like this. As much as, we love to hate on her for what she's doing now, back then this was revolutionary because we didn't have this. Her popularity opened up the world for all these other Oracle deck creators to do their thing. I love, once again, very, very heteronormative, cisgendered, white, in the sense that, of course, the only male figure in the deck is the romantic partner, because obviously the only people using this deck would be women. Funnily enough, this is a gay as fuck dude using this deck, so yes, I'll take him. Thank you. But that's kind of the vibe, and you kind of have to understand it in order for you to appreciate it. But it's a cute widow deck. Back when Heiau still stapled their guidebooks. You don't see that anywhere anymore. Up next, the Vision of the Muse Oracle. Honestly, I've been wanting this for the longest time, and I kind of regret getting it. I'm not gonna lie. It's good, it's usable, it's aesthetically pleasing, it's great for Instagram, but I feel this deck lacks concept. I feel this deck lacks a vision. So Vision of the Muse is not something that I get from this. Is it a bunch of really usable keywords with gorgeously handcrafted collage art? Yes. And that's where it ends for me. Even the guidebook is very minimal. I did feel her tarot deck and her astrology deck did have a bit more vision behind it. It still kind of feels to me like she had some leftover collages after she did her tarot. Or did she do this one first? I forget. Once again, before I talk trash, I gotta make sure that we know what we're talking about. 2017. Well, but then again, is there anything particularly wrong with having, creating, I'm talking from a creator's perspective, from creating a deck centered around concepts and keywords that you enjoy having in a deck? No. And so I have to be honest about that. This is an indie publication. This started not necessarily, and that's what I love about indie publishing when it's done like that. When it starts as a very personal project, something that you feel like is missing from the market and you want there to be. And then, some people wanted it as well. And you maybe did a Kickstarter and, so I do respect that a lot. So I'm going to take my words back. This is probably a very personal deck to her, but for me in indie Oracle decks, I don't dislike this, and I'm not getting rid of this because it is stunning, and it's very usable. I could bring this with me anywhere and give a great reading to anyone who wants to, and they'll probably say, "Oh wow, those cards are so damn cool." But I am missing the strong concept a bit. I am missing that a bit. I'm just going to have to be honest about that, right? I can be honest, I'm not bitching about it. It's just something that I found in using it. Ooh, this is cool. My own tarot deck. This is the first tarot deck that I ever did. It's still on Make Playing Cards, but it's gonna be deleted off there soon. So if you would like to get it now. You can. I'll try to post the link to it down below. This was during the beginning of lockdown. I was sort of creating a tarot deck with illegally downloaded images of other artists. And I was like, I don't think I'm allowed to do this, so I didn't. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna draw my own. So I created this over the course of, I think, 2 or 3 months, drawing every day, every night. Hadn't drawn for 15 years. This is so cool. Some of these designs you will see make a comeback in my new tarot deck because my drawing skills have improved significantly since I did this. It's super pippish, super bare bones, which I like a lot. And I don't know, it just features all kinds of shit that I like. For example, this chariot, I mean, come on now. It's pretty cool. It's very neon. Hi, bum. It's, is it perfect? No. Is it kind of, are the proportions always right? No. But this has such a raw energy to it that I'm like, for example, this Five of Cups. It has this really raw, folksy, almost shamanic energy to it, and I'm pulling it off the market soon if my Kickstarter goes through and gets funded, blah blah blah. I'm gonna do that at the end of January, beginning of February. But this will forever hold a very special place in my heart because so much thought and pure raw intention went into this. And I actually kind of like the fact that it is a bit folky and shamanic and raw and real. Yeah, it has a pretty raw voice too. So yeah, this is actually really special, and I haven't looked at it in a while. And looking at it now kind of made me go a little bit sentimental because it was so special, and I met so many friends through that deck. Because a lot of people were like, "Ooh, what's that? Oh, I kind of want that." And I was like, "You can get it on my Make Playing Cards, and people would love it." And it, I didn't sell a ton. I think I sold about 60 to 70 copies since I launched it in 2020. During the pandemic, but all those 70 copies have gone to like people who I now consider friends. After I was done with that, I immediately started working on this, not knowing what it was going to be. For the brother to brother oracle, there was a very clear concept that I had in mind from the start. It was a deck that I wrote in about an hour. For this, I just started drawing without rhyme or reason, not even with the intention of it becoming a deck. and then it became the Primordial Warrior Oracle, which is pretty cool. Comes with a couple of instruction cards. This will remain for a bit on my Make playing cards, but comes with a couple of instructions and card meanings and shit like that, because printing guidebooks is expensive as hell. But eventually this will also go, I think I may actually delete it off there too. Maybe create a new version, because also from this deck there's a lot of art that I sort of upscaled and, you know, redrew for my new tarot deck. For example, this one, this bear. But there's also a ton of original work that I didn't use. So it's pretty damn cool. I like it a lot. We get this system where we have two different types of backs, the suit of journeys and the suit of God. Look at me flailing when it comes to my suit of journeys and the suit of magical beasts. Yes, so suit of journeys, suit of magical beasts, and you're sort of like supposed to use it as two decks, where it kind of goes like, what's the next step on my journey, and then what magical beast is going to assist me. I think there's a lot of cool art in here. I may actually make a new version of this where I am going to replace all the art that I've used for the tarot deck with art that is new. But I did use quite a lot of this. For example, I turned this into the Hermit. Perfect, right? But yeah, it is pretty cool. It is pretty sweet. It's a really cute little deck that is very usable, very flashy, very cool. And once again, very unpolished. But that's kind of where its force lies, where its power lies. There's so many cool images in here. Like, this is probably, I may even prefer this over my tarot deck. But that's because I'm kind of an oracle hooker. I love oracles. Tarot decks, I love reading tarot, don't get me wrong, but tarot decks, how many do we really need? And I know this sounds like this is really bad from someone who's going to launch a new tarot deck, but I've become way more mindful with my tarot deck purchasing, because like I said, very often I just don't feel them. I just don't feel it, and they're sitting pretty in my closet, and that's kind of a waste. So I hope you guys like this. The next video is going to be about my cartomancy style decks, so that's going to be fun. I hope you liked it, and bye, bitch.